with the content that you create? What can they expect from a Matt Mellish video or stream? What kind of things do you get into when you're making content?
I just love to have fun. In all honesty, I love to share my passion for Lego and creativity online. I like to show off whatever I'm up to. Lately, I've been doing a whole lot of reviews. I'm very grateful to have been sent a lot of sets via the Lego Ambassador Network, and I have a huge backlog that I'm looking at right across from me. But I'm trying to keep more high quality content on my account and trying to give people just a overall good experience, because we do live in a very crazy, chaotic world currently, and it's nice to give people some escape from whatever the reality is that they're living.
We know that you are on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram.
Those are the primary places. YouTube as well. Primarily
That's
just
right.
posting shorts there, because I'm able to post a TikTok, a reel, and a short, and it's usually always the same video with a few differences depending on how long the video is, because I'm trying to post longer form in terms of the short form content, longer short form content on TikTok, because they're paying a little bit more out for that. Not that I'm money hungry or anything, but it's nice to get a little bit back from what you put into the world as well. And I'm trying to pursue content full time. So I'm trying to create wherever I can and see what works for me best and who responds to it in the best way possible. I have found out that it's odd. Some people in the Lego space, depending on who you are, you'll live everywhere. You'll be on YouTube and Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, all the platforms. And some people just live on one platform, more of the general audience. And it's harder to get those people to funnel over from one platform to the next. But the goal was, when I started with TikTok, to bring people from the short form into the longer form, because there was such a great amount of organic reach at that point when I began back in 2020. And so the goal, the mastermind plan that I had, was to start on TikTok, then make a YouTube, bring people from TikTok over to YouTube to grow that very quickly. And moral of the story, that didn't end up happening because I fell in love with TikTok so much, and a lot of other parts of my life took over and disabled me from achieving that goal. But new opportunities came out of it that I'm just as grateful for. That's kind of been the message of my time as a content creator so far, because I never would have imagined that I would even be doing this with where I am in life, or where I was at least when I began. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing when something doesn't work out, because usually it's something better that is a result.
You know, going into this whole thing of content creation, you may or may not, depending on who you are, have a plan. But sometimes when you walk in with a plan, you then discover that things will not at all go in the way that you were originally set to. So yeah, it sounds like, you know, you wanted to go YouTube, you wanted to go TikTok from the beginning. You started on TikTok to start that funnel of bringing short form to long form, and then you just kind of decided short form's the thing for you. What made you initially pick TikTok for that reason, to kind of start that funnel, or at least with that long-term goal of pushing people to YouTube?
I have to kind of go back and parse out the kind of the story of how I ended up there to begin with. In college, I majored in graphic design and marketing, went to a very small liberal arts university. My junior year, I went and I actually did the Disney college program. Moral of the story was, I just was having a hard time in college. I was working 4 different jobs and I needed a break. I needed a release, need to get out and just do something different. So I worked for 7 months at Disney World as a PhotoPass photographer, which I absolutely adored. And I had great leaders who offered me a lot of different opportunities. And by the end of my program, I was able to be somewhat of a seasonal cast member, so I could go back after college to be able to stay with the company. In that interim time, as I was graduating, COVID hit in 2020. I had learned about TikTok right before the pandemic had hit. That was when it was starting to become more and more popular. Was Musical.ly, and then it turned into TikTok. I started watching a lot of Gary Vee, because in all honesty, I learned more on YouTube regarding marketing strategies and exercises than I did in school. It's funny how the internet can teach you more than a college can that you're actually paying for. But I knew about the reach and the ability to go viral using short form content on TikTok. And I knew that it was a different skill set than long form content, and I was interested in learning that. But I didn't have the time for it until COVID hit. And at that point, I was furloughed from my job with Disney and eventually fired, which I knew was coming. I thought, I've always wanted to do content creation. I've always looked up to other creators out there, especially in the Lego space. But I was going to start making art that I was hoping I could actually sell and make a living off of, to be more than just a starving artist. Because, like I said, I worked a lot of different jobs, and I could work for someone, but I would rather work for myself. At least I thought that at the time. Thought it would be easier, which is not always the case. It's always an adventure. I started TikTok as the pandemic was happening. I moved back home and I made one video showing off a bird that I created out of Lego years ago. It was a mock. And my point was to show that Lego was an art form, or it could be a medium of sorts for art. And I did 3D design and other fine art in college to understand it. And it was just going to be a one-off video, posted it on Easter, and it ended up performing very well. It got like 40,000 views, which to me at the time was a lot. My art videos weren't doing that well. I decided to post one other video just showing off my childhood Lego collection in my childhood bedroom behind me. And it got a reasonable amount of views, not the same amount, but I saw the niche. I saw that there was an audience for that content. And I kept making art content interspersed with the Lego stuff, and Lego always outperformed the art side of things. At that point, there were only a few other people making Lego content on TikTok, and I just went all in on the nerdum of being a Lego fan, being a Star Wars fan, or a Marvel fan. And, you know, the content back then was trending, primarily using audio from the For You page and just finding whatever worked. I was posting 5 times a day, do it the Gary V way of just putting out there everything that you think of and seeing what worked.
Yeah.
But that taught me what quality was, because, you know, when you're just starting, it's subjective. Quality is always subjective, but you don't know what your voice is, and you're looking for what people resonate with. And over the next couple of years, I found out what quality was, and I kind of took it back to posting twice a day, and now I'm only posting twice a week. So, you know, I kind of found what I like to produce, what my audience likes, and the, I guess, crossover from those two things. And I've been having a lot of fun and seeing some success here and there. And, you know, I am trying to go full time with it. It just kind of happened that way because I was working for my college when COVID hit, because they took me on as a residential assistant for quarantining students. And I was working at their branch campus, looking over anybody who needed to come quarantine from the rest of the school. And they gave me free room and board and a meal plan. And I didn't have to worry about expenses or responsibilities. So I could have an opportunity to try to make this work. And last year, I was let go from that position. The position was terminated, and I just didn't get another job. And I've had some very nice opportunities that have come along to me that have allowed me, through sponsorships and working with platforms, to continue this through and to try to make it work until it doesn't. Because I'm only 25 years old, I don't have a wife and kids, I don't have a mortgage on a house or anything like that. And I'm just trying to see how far I can take it at this point.
That's amazing. That's an incredible origin story, given kind of where you are now compared to where you came from back when the pandemic kickstarted this whole thing for you. How has your TikTok content changed? I mean, you talked about frequency of posts, but how else has that content evolved over the last couple of years?
It started out on my phone, just shooting whatever using trending sounds, and it was spur of the moment content that would hit the For You page and then die off in a couple days. What I've learned is my content needs to change with the platform. So whatever people are interested in or what they view as high quality, I need to be able to adjust. And I think it's the content creators that are able to understand that end up lasting the longest. I transitioned from just using my phone to trying my camera. I wasn't really doing voiceovers at first. I was just kind of looking at the camera and talking every once in a while, but most of it was just doing not a voiceover, but syncing your lips with whatever the voice on the audio was, just doing lip sync content.
Right.
And now I'm primarily making original content using my camera, using my mic, and trying to focus more on the hook, trying to get that watch retention. In the beginning, it was just, can you get the most engagement? And now it's, can you get people to watch and rewatch and share the video?
Mm.
So it's focusing on those factors while making adjustments to the production quality, I suppose.
So it seems more focused these days compared to those early times where you were more trying out different things, seeing what kind of stuck and what didn't. Now you kind of have a better clue of how you want those videos to work and what you want them to look like.
Right. And I've developed my voice. I think I've found my voice on TikTok and what seems to be what people want to see and who I think I am as well on social media and how I translate to a camera.
Yeah.
I think I'm a lot more intentional. I think that's the best word to use.
If you could describe like the Matt Mellish like content or the voice that you have, how would you sum that up?
Well, like I said, I really like to have fun. I enjoy telling a story of some kind, even if it's silly. I created a few different characters that show up every once in a while, like Mailman Matt or Secret Agent Matt. There were a few others like Officer Matt talking about illegal Lego building techniques, or Secret Agent Matt was just, he was the guy who would show up if you have a ball call and you're trying to figure out what sets the pieces are from just by having 3 pieces together and determining it from there. Those videos are always fun to do and people really enjoy them, but I don't want to overdo it too much. I want to play with it. I don't want to flood the feed with all of that because then it'll die and then I'll have to find something different to create. And it's fun to have some characters. It's fun to feel like I can be my nerdy self and talk about Lego and be somewhat authentic while being entertaining. You know, I think there's a balance between the two. As much as I would like to say the real Matt is the same as Matt Mellish online, they are a bit different. There's an on personality versus an off. And
right.
I think it's just, you need to bring excitement to your content if you want people to continue watching. And so it's the best version of myself in that sense.
Yeah. And I think there's some truth to that across the board for any of us who do this sort of thing. We try to put our best version of ourself out there often, depending on who you are. It might differ in terms of like the delta or the difference between who you are off camera and who you are on camera.
Or the day of the week, whatever happened to you yesterday, when you woke up, like all of those things do affect the content. And that's why it's important to like eat healthy, to exercise and take care of yourself as well.
That's a great point. That leads to perhaps a follow-up question here with trying to maintain, you know, that healthy outlook or that trying to take good care of yourself. What are the things that you do to make sure that you are still taking care of Matt so he can go off and do all these cool videos?
I do push myself. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so it is hard for me to let go sometimes of the control that I have over the creation process. It's nice to take a break every once in a while. I really like to run. I ran cross country and track in high school, and I just never let that go. So every once in a while, just to clear my brain, I'll go for a run outside. I don't eat the healthiest. It's more of one of those practice, as I say, do as I say, not as I do. But honestly, I think keeping up with family, with friends, calling just people every once in a while, because I work at home. My bedroom is in the other room, right across from my studio space. I live in a small studio apartment anyway, so I don't really have a lot of room here. So getting outside of the apartment is important for me, even if that's just going for a walk, going to Target to look for some Lego, kind of getting out of my own head, out of these 4 walls. You know, it is interacting with the community as well, because I think for so much time, content creators look at a camera all day. I need people to interact with, and I'm an introvert. You would probably not know that from watching my content. I seem pretty outgoing and excited, but I'm very internal. And when I talk to people, I get tired afterwards and I
Yeah.
need to recharge. So just like knowing yourself, I think is really important in that capacity. I know when to keep pushing and when to draw back. That might help people out there who are struggling with it.
Was that something that took some time for you to get accustomed to, like learning the things about yourself that you need? Like how did you arrive at kind of like what makes a good balanced life for Matt?
I think over time, I just learned a lot through life experiences. I was, and I'm not ashamed to say, I was bullied in middle school. So that taught me a lot about who I am and why I am the way I am. Might be strange to say, but like I know where my perfectionism comes from. And this might be a deep topic to bring up at the moment, but like I thought that by being a perfect person or by making no mistakes in school, by being the best version of myself that I could possibly be, and what I thought of that was at the time very different than what that is now. But by being a perfectionist, my bullies wouldn't affect me or they wouldn't be able to make fun of me. That has stayed with me. And I only figured that out like a year ago. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh, this is why I'm a perfectionist. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is where this comes from. I put this on myself, but it was really from that time in my life that it was created out of. And stuff like that. I guess reflecting on the past and understanding where I came from and where I am today and the interim in between. I also went to a small Lutheran private school up to 8th grade, and then I went to the big high school of 200 kids. Whoop-de-doo. But I did
Wow.
musicals and plays, and I made friends, and that was an eye-opening experience for me because I gained a bit of confidence that I then took into college, and then I kind of like figured out that I could reinvent myself because nobody knew who I was. So I could be whoever I wanted to be. And then I tried, just once again, continuing to be the best version of myself. And I'm always the type of person to bite off more than they can choose, more than they can chew, take on a lot. Like I said, I worked 4 jobs in college, and each of those jobs, and when I say 4 jobs, I mean 4 jobs at once. I was a campus tour guide. I worked an internship doing marketing related stuff. I was working with the campus student communications team, which was a part of their marketing department. So I helped run the official social media for my small university. I was a part of student government. Like all of the different things that I am, all the different things that I learned over time have created who I am today. Working at Disney kind of showed me like, oh, this is what real joy out of one's work looks like, because prior to that, I wasn't having a good relationship with work, with my bosses, with employees and other coworkers. When I went to Disney, it was just a separation from everything else. And I realized, wow, this is what happiness looks like.
Wow.
So learning all of that over time, that we are the amalgamation of our experiences.
True.
I've uncovered who I believe I am, or the best version of myself is. And guess what? I'm still learning every day who that person is, and it's not stopped. It's an ongoing process.
How has content creation affected that growth? How has it shown you more revelations about yourself over the last couple of years?
I always loved being alone. I'm an only child. Right? And I'm used to it. I'm comfortable with myself, especially now after 25 years of being on this rock. But I've realized that, I don't like being alone as much as I thought I did. Because I'm now not having to go to a job. I'm working from home. I'm working for myself. You have boss Matt and employee Matt, and then you have Matt, which is somewhere in between.
Right.
So I'm learning not to be as hard on myself, and I'm learning that I can't do it all. And this was also a recent thought. It's like, oh, I can do YouTube. I can do Instagram. I can do TikTok. I can do Twitch. And then all the other things that I want to do. I want to be a good friend. I want to be a good son to my parents and all the other things. But I can't do it all. I have to prioritize all of that. And so learning how to do that is something that I'm still working on. And I think it's something that a lot of content creators are learning how to prioritize not only their work, but themselves.
That's wonderful. And I think that's something everyone, not just creators, should consider, but everyone should think about how you need to take all that stuff into account. Especially if you're someone who's ambitious, you want to do all of the things, you find that there's just there's no way to handle it all.
Right. And that's the artist in me, because I always loved drawing and painting and photography and videography and all sorts of vector design. I love it all. It's like, well, Matt, what are you going to specialize in? It's like, I have to choose.
Yeah.
I have to choose just like one or two things. How can I do that? And I'm learning now that like, oh, I love to stream on Twitch and I want to squeeze all the content that I can out of every set that I get. But at the end of the day, like, I need to make some time to build on my own to actually like enjoy Lego offline as well, because that's important for Matt, separate from the accounts.
Yeah. That balance of enjoying the hobby, particularly in this case, Lego, but then knowing that part of your content or all of your content relies on it. So it's like, where is that delineation of this is specifically for me, this is when I do it on stream versus when I don't. And so it's certainly tough. It's certainly, what helps you make that decision in terms of like what becomes content and what doesn't?
Well, life is a juggling act, especially at this point in my life.
Yeah.
So sometimes you drop some balls, but I take it day by day, really. Like, I get up, I get in the shower every morning, and I think, what's the first thing that I need to get done? What's the first step? Yeah. And I think like taking it one step at a time has allowed me to really prioritize what's important. Like I said, I have a mountain of a backlog to get through, and some of it is sets that I need to get through for other companies, not just the land, but like I'm working with Entertainment Earth and some other companies out there doing content for them. I did a thing with 2K not that long ago, which was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, and I want to make sure that it's the best possible video that it can be, not only for my audience, but for me, because I want to put something out into the world that I'm proud of. And sometimes you can take it a little too far as well. It's like, how do I pull back? How do I not take 3 days to make one short form video and instead like actually make some progress rather quickly? And so learning how to prioritize that has been a learning curve, but it's been a journey that's helped me uncover how to get through my perfectionism.
Thank you for sharing. That's definitely,
of course.
Yeah. And I often refer to myself as a recovering perfectionist as well. I always want to do the best at whatever it is that I'm doing. I want to be really good at it. I want to put out the best videos or the best whatever that I can. But I've learned over the years that in some cases, just making the content without scrutinizing every little bit of it makes it that much better, only because it simply gets out there and it simply shows you how you could improve for the next time without having to stop and do every little tweak that you can on the video that you're working on.
Right. Especially like for me, it's like shooting the same take over and over and over, or doing a voiceover and saying the same line over and over and over. And something I've realized too is usually the first take is the better one, or unless like the angle is completely messed up and if I'm looking at the camera or something. But usually the first time I say something into the microphone is the best like version of that thing.
Yeah.
But then I overthink.
Yep.
And then I redo it over and over and over, and it gets worse every time. And I think being a perfectionist also goes hand in hand with overthinking. And you just need to sometimes relax and take a step back when you're in one of those modes where you find yourself sitting for an hour doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And just be like, you need to settle down and then come back to this with fresh eyes.
Yeah. I found similar experience when recording things. It's often I look back at the footage or I'm in editing and I'm like, the first attempt was just fine. Why did I record 4 more? right? And so, yeah, I
Right.
completely get that.
I think a lot of people, especially in the content space, seem to have the perfectionist mindset.
Oh yeah.
That's what at least I've run into talking with friends and meeting new people. And I don't know what it is about content creators that attracts that type of person, but I think it's something that everybody needs to work on to a point. And I think it is because maybe we see so much other content out there that we aspire to create.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, I want to be like that person, or I want to have as many followers as that. And that's not the way to look at it. You need to just learn to be the best version of yourself once again. And in that, have the confidence to be able to kind of block out everything else, the positive voices and the negative ones.
Absolutely. I think that's very important. There's kind of that fine line between being inspired by others in the space and kind of seeing how they do it and kind of understanding where they're coming from. That doesn't mean that you need to execute it in the same way exactly or try to be that person, because it's only going to be more difficult trying to be that creator than being yourself, right? Than being who you are, whatever that looks like compared to whoever it is that you're mimicking or emulating in that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not going to be their content. You can't copy someone else's success. You can learn from other people and,
Yeah.
grow using the same type of skills that they've acquired, but it really takes a lot of experience. There's no one magic trick that's going to get you a viral video. There are some things that you can add to your tool belt, but it's really you. And that's why people, I hope, are watching me. A lot of people like to watch Lego content, but anybody can make a Lego review about anything. Only you can do it in the way that your voice speaks to, in the way that you are able to utilize your personality and bring people in to watch the content and enjoy it.
How long did it take you to feel like you were being more natural about who you were, and like we've been touching on a lot, is being your genuine self? How did that journey go for you, or what did that look like for you to kind of finally arrive to that point?
I think it's just time. Like,
Yeah.
I know that's a lame answer,
No,
but
it's not.
it wasn't like one day I woke up and I realized I'm the best version of myself.
No.
No.
Just takes
It's
time.
just over time. Like, you get used to things and you learn, like, I need to, like I said, take a step back. I need to not overthink it as much. And I just need to get the video done.
Yeah.
And then maybe tweak it in the end and make some minor changes. And it wasn't like that happened overnight. That took a couple of years. And I think it's when I started doing the more original content, it was when I stopped doing all the trending sounds and the lip syncs. I was able to figure out, like, what I want to put out onto social media, what I think would draw people in, what I think a good hook is, or like, am I creating a video that I would watch?
Right.
I think it started with that, and then it only grew upwards from there.
Yeah. We talk about looking at the kind of content that you want to make, and we just talked about what it means to be inspired but find your own voice and direction. Early on, what or who inspired you when you were getting started?
Well, it's funny because Lego content goes back very far for me. I've always been a Lego fan since I got my first set, which was the Lego Star Wars Clone Scout Walker from the Revenge of the Sith era back in 2005, 2006 for my 8-year-old birthday party. So it's only grown from there, but I didn't really have a whole lot of people growing up physically in person that appreciated Lego in the same way that I did. I had a handful of people, some of my closer friends, but one or two at most. And so I would watch Solid Brick Studios on YouTube and his reviews. And back then he was Lego Boy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Wow.
And then I started watching other Lego Star Wars reviewers over time. And I've always enjoyed other Lego content, but I think it was like maybe back in 2012. I had actually created a YouTube channel back then under an alias, and I still haven't really like divulged what it was or shown it off
Yeah.
since I became a full-time creator, or since that I like revived this version of myself in this professional sphere.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to create content back then because I was watching all of the clone base videos from like Chris Productions, and I mean that was an era that was very special to a lot of Star Wars fans and to me particularly. But I made some crappy videos and I had fun, and then I learned just kind of like the basics of editing through Windows Movie Maker. And then in college, I learned a little bit more through using Premiere Pro when I got the Adobe Creative Cloud. And I started making a little bit of random videos here and there. I had to take a GoPro class my senior year. I went on a study abroad, and it was take your GoPro and film the trip and make a vlog. And so I put a lot of time and effort into that. And I started watching a lot of Peter McKinnon, who does a lot of photography tutorials and videography tutorials on YouTube. He's a class professional and amazing at what he does. And like, it's not just content in Lego that inspires me. It's content like his. I watched a lot of PewDiePie. I grew up watching a lot of Tobuscus, his Minecraft videos, and it's been a slew of content since I was a kid because I grew up, with YouTube as it was becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I'm of that age. I'm a little younger, and I can only imagine the Gen Z kids who are growing up now who are wanting to pursue content and what they've grown up with the internet as what it is right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's incredible that I'd like to point out the fact that not only you have been in Lego this whole time since you first picked it up when you were 8, but then the fact that, like you pointed out, you are of the generation where YouTube was common, as it is now, even more so. But the fact that you already had these other creators to watch and grow up with, and then by the time you made that decision to start doing it, even back then, you had almost a template to work from and kind of build up through. That's impressive. I'm a lot older than you, and so I didn't even get into that sort of thing until I was a lot older, and so I almost felt like I had to learn it along because I didn't grow up with it. Right, I had to learn it as an adult.
Sure.
Yeah. So
if it makes you feel any better, I would have had no idea how old you are at all.
I appreciate that. I just turned 41. So
no way. I would have guessed like 30s, early 30s.
I appreciate that.
Honestly,
I really do. That means
I'm
a
not
lot.
just saying that.
But yeah, being in my 40s, like YouTube, like I clearly remember the first like videos that went viral that weren't even YouTube. Like a lot of that stuff was on things like Newgrounds, which was a little older and not quite like a video site per se. Like it was full of other things. But the fact that you kind of grew up with it, it's just been an inherent part of like your growing up.
Right.
You were able to kind of step right into that. Given that, that was just something that you were around, were there any of these goals of like, I want to be like this creator, I want to be like the next insert name here? Was there any particular names? Because I know you named a few like Tobuscus and PewDiePie, but like were there any where you're like, maybe one day I'll be like so and so?
Not really. I mean, and that might sound silly, but I grew up with it, so it was all very normal to me, and there wasn't really anyone that stood out because I think like I wanted to do something different because I don't want to replicate. Like I said, I never really wanted to replicate what other people were doing.
Yeah.
but I wanted to be like them. Maybe it's not the person or the content creators themselves that
Right.
like I wanted to emulate, but it was the feeling they gave me.
Mm.
Like I want to be the comfortable person that people come to watch and to get energy from, or to like see a friendly face, or to follow whatever it is that's going to come up. Like
Mhm.
I would watch PewDiePie pretty regularly in college, and that was when he was going through his T-Series battle, and it was like every video that came out I was always watching whatever the next one was. Or Mr. Beast, same thing.
Yeah.
Like just because like I want to see what they're up to, because I appreciated them as people. They were exciting and energetic. Tobuscus was as well.
Yeah.
Maybe as a kid, maybe it was like I wanted to be like Solid Brick Studios, like David. Just because like I love Lego, he loves Lego. I want to be someone that inspires other people to keep collecting like he did for me. Or like the general YouTube crowd back then of like all the different content creators. I watched a lot of Brick Show. That's a name people haven't heard in a long time as
Wow.
well. And honestly, like the content that I was watching, I watched a lot of M&R. I watched a lot of Emmasaurus when I was starting to do my content on TikTok, where she was starting at the same time, kind of at that era. So it's been cool to also watch other people grow. But content has been what's like kept me with Lego, because in college I wasn't collecting as much. I just didn't have the space, money, or time. And I was still paying attention to what was being released from the company. It's just I couldn't buy any of it. I would buy a set here or there just to like remind myself how much I love it.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until COVID when I got back into it full force.
When the time came to like make content, Lego, was that primarily like the thing you decided like this is what it was going to be about, or did you have any other thoughts in your head, and what were they, if so?
Well, like I said, I wanted to do art content primarily to begin
True.
with, which was very different
That's right.
than
That's right. Yeah.
where we ended up.
Yeah, that's right. You talked about that a little bit. So you
Right.
thought art was going to be the thing, and then
And it wasn't at all, because like I was thinking business. I was like, how do I create a business out of social media? How do I do this? And then I quickly realized like this is not what I want to do. This
yeah,
like I want to be able to enjoy what I do. I don't
yeah,
want to make it unenjoyable because I'm focused on the other more professional side of what content can be. I was like, I
right.
want to sell art. And I think I was trying to prove to my family and friends that like this was a viable option.
I see.
And like instead of just being myself and enjoying what I was producing, I was thinking in a very different mindset, because I was watching a lot of Gary Vee, and I was watching some other
Yeah,
content creators who were like pushing more of the how to make money and make
business.
it a full-time thing. And
Right.
then I made a couple Lego videos. And I'm like, well, this is fun.
This is fun. I would rather do this, right? Like that's where
Right.
you ended up with it.
This is what the people want as well. Like, why would I not do the nerdy side of it? Like, I was doing
Yeah,
a little bit of Star Wars and a little bit of Marvel stuff interspersed. I'm like, what do people like?
yeah,
Because I like doing this. I'm going to make a video that I like, and then let's see if people like it. Okay, that worked. This didn't. Let's move on from there. And I kept learning kind of that way what people liked, while trying to understand what it was that I wanted to create as well at the
yeah.
same time.
How long was that shift for you where you're like, I'm gonna do art, and then it became okay, Lego's the thing. How long did that take?
It was faster than you would think. It was probably like a month or
Yeah,
two, maybe.
yeah.
Like,
You knew.
because it just wasn't going to happen. Like, I loved creating art, but I also really liked the process of it, and like being alone and just drawing, or being alone and painting, or designing, or photographing, whatever that is.
Right.
And I was also having a hard time like showing it on camera in the same way, because at that time there weren't very many artists on TikTok as well. They were still mainly on Instagram, and I was trying to learn what worked on Instagram and tried to translate it to TikTok. And TikTok was such a different platform as well. And it still is.
Yeah.
Instagram is much more professional. TikTok is way more random and authentic.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working. I'm like, I don't like this. It doesn't seem natural. And then I made a couple Lego videos. I'm like, you know what? This is me.
This is you. Yeah. It's time. This is what I'll do.
Right.
What would you have done differently getting started? Like, what kind of little things would you have, whether it's approach or tricks that you have or just mindset, what would you do different if you were able to like start with the knowledge you have now?
Of course, I'm going to say I'll actually answer your question in a second, but of course I'm going to say nothing. I would change nothing because I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for that.
Fair.
But I think I would have been a lot more successful if I would have learned earlier on that I should be making original content, not necessarily just do the trending sounds, of course, but let loose and not really be concerned about views. I think earlier on I was, and then quickly that kind of went away. Trying to work on my hooks more in the beginning would have helped as well, because it would have put me beyond where I am now in terms of understanding how to make a good short form video, making the content that I wanted to create rather than worrying about as much what other people wanted to see.
Instead of feeling like you had to do a specific thing or a particular type of content, just try out what you felt was right at the time.
I think knowing as well, exactly, but knowing as well, like, loyal viewers are more important than followers who don't really care about my content.
Right.
I think that would have helped as well back in the day, because I was just worried about like, oh, this video is doing well, I'm going to do more of this. And like, you get a little high from that as well internally. And I think I would have a much more loyal following in general if I would have just like been myself more in the beginning and like not worried about the trends as much.
Right.
Granted, back then, like, mostly everybody was doing it, and that was what the algorithm wanted as well. The dreaded algorithm that we work for, the tyrants that it is.
Yeah.
But diving in and being more confident as well would have been more helpful, because although I like was faking it until I was starting to make it, I was worried about a little bit too much about what other people thought, and I was very focused on it because I was dating someone at the time and I was living at home, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to work on this content because this is really like what I want to do with my life. And I want to give it the best possible opportunity that it has to be successful. And I let a lot of other things go. Like, I wasn't as focused on my friendships. I wasn't as focused on my relationships with other people. And I think like taking more time for myself would have also probably helped me live a healthier life. Yeah. And have a healthier relationship with the craft of creation.
Yeah. So you dove in pretty hard. You were very focused on it early on.
Right.
Made it tougher.
Yeah.
I see. So we talked about what you would do differently. I mean, even though we know probably wouldn't change a thing, but what advice would you give someone else then who's like, hey, I'm getting started in this content creation gig? What would you tell them?
Go for it. Don't worry about the results. Don't worry about what other people think, the judgment that you're going to cast on yourself. Just go for it. Go all in. Enjoy the ride. People get lost in that too. I think I did a pretty good job at that. I think a lot of people are worried about what their next video is going to be instead of like really having an appreciation for what they've created themselves. And I think also learn from other people's mistakes. I think that's something important for people to realize. Like, you don't have to go down the same path as other people in order to gain the knowledge that they have. But like, really listen to what other people have to say, learn from them, but be true to yourself and make the content that is most natural to you.
Feels dead on for where you're headed as well. That begs the question, Matt Mellish of 2023, where do you want your stuff to go? Where are you wanting to be, knowing what you've done so far?
It sounds crazy. Like, oh, I want to grow to this many followers, or I want to move to this platform.
Sure.
It sounds weird, but like, I want to make it sustainable.
Mm.
I want to make it work. I don't want to overdo it. I want to be able to understand how it can fit in my life, and not how can I fit in it. How can my life fit in the content, but how can the content fit in my life?
Mm.
Because I think for the last couple of years, I've been pretty hard at work, learning how to prioritize myself and learning how to live a healthier lifestyle with it. And now I just want to make it sustainable and have fun. That's ultimately like what the content's about, like still being able to have fun and not letting it become a job. And that's sort of what I mean by allowing it to be sustainable. There have been times where I've gotten a little bit more burnt out than others, trying to find a long-term solution to it and develop that relationship going forward will be helpful.
Well described. I think that's really important. This has come up in other episodes, like what is the shelf life, right, of a creator? What does that look like? And often it's fairly short relative to any other career you put out there. So
right. And trying to make it a full-time thing, like I want to be able to make it sustainable in terms of the financial side, not because I want to be making $1 million. If I was worried about money and wanted to live the high life, I wouldn't be doing Lego content on social media. I would have been a doctor or a lawyer or something else. But I love it so much, and I love sharing with people online, and I love getting to talk to folks like you and to be a part of the community, that like I want it to be sustainable for me because I want to be able to do this long term.
Do you feel any closer to that yet?
Every year I've tripled my income.
That's
which
cool.
is a good sign that things are going to be hopefully working out. I'm not saying what that income is, but it's enough to pay my rent and then some. You know, like it's enough to live on for now in this current life that I'm living as a 25-year-old without, like I said, a family, kids, and a mortgage. So hopefully, like in the long term, that continues to grow. And I've just been so blessed, right? Like I'm blessed to be in the Lego Ambassador Network and have sets sent to me for free. Well, for free. I do work for it, you know, with it, and I enjoy that, and I get to share it with my community, and that's really what it's about. It's not my sets, it's content that I can share with other people. But also, like, working with other companies has been a lot of fun and a lot of work, but it's shown me that like there is hope to making it in this field.
Congratulations on that. That's a big thing, especially for any creator. Just even simply being able to live off of it, that is a massive deal. Definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
And that's not for everybody as well. Like, you shouldn't aspire to do that just for like the people who are like thinking about doing this or who are in it already or thinking about going full time. Like, this may not be for you. It's a lot of time and energy, and there's a lot of risk involved. I'm just at the point in my life where I can try, and I want to give it the best possible opportunity that it has of being successful.
Yeah, I hear that. In your position, I would do the same, to be honest. Although I am well into a day job and career that I do enjoy, and I have a wife and kids and a mortgage, so I'm on the very opposite end of that. But
it's a lot of fun. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Most people would try it, especially like you talk to the Gen Z generation. What do you want to be? You want to be an astronaut? No, I want to be a content creator.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Wild.
It is. It's funny, right? Because when I was a kid, clearly that was not even an option. That wasn't like, I wouldn't, you don't know what that is even in the 1980s, 1990s when I was growing up. And I think my answer as a kid was very similar. It was like, I want to be an astronaut or something. And it was nowadays, you talk to kiddos and they're like, I want to be a YouTube creator. I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be a Twitch streamer. And it's like, oh, okay. That's such a different direction.
And it's almost like being an actor, maybe like 20 years ago, if you asked people what they wanted to do, or maybe even more than that, like, I want to be well known. And it's not like fame that should drive you to do content. It should be like, I love gaming or I love Lego and I want to make a career out of my passion.
Right.
Rather than like, oh, I want to be known.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that can definitely misrepresent what content creation can be for that person if they're just simply going for the fame of it all. It's certainly, when you have expectation to blow up or go viral or be huge, it's tough. Like, I've met people that way, and I've had people who are like, "Oh, I want to be a big Twitch streamer," and I'm like, "Good luck," but I don't.
You're not gonna make it with that attitude.
Yeah, that's
buddy.
not. Yeah, that's not gonna. Or I wanna. The whole I want to make a bunch of money from it. And it's like when you start, that is not. Neither of those things are gonna happen, and.
You're gonna be disappointed very quickly.
You're gonna be, and I think I said that specifically to someone who's like, "Oh, I totally would love to like, go full-time Twitch streamer and make a ton of money." And I just kind of did this. You're gonna have a bad time. So, I mean, those of us who are able to do that, we know some of those people, but that's not a thing that everyone gets to do.
Right. And it's not glamorous either.
No.
People only see what's on the camera. They don't see all the outtakes and the stress that goes into like, am I going to be able to pay my bills this month? Oh,
right.
I hope so. Like,
yeah, that wondering if you can even, pay all those bills, or those late nights editing or re-recording different lines for a video. It's
endurance
crazy.
That it takes is a lot more than people would expect. And also, like, just so like people know also how I was able to kind of make this a full-time thing. Like I said, I worked a lot in college. I saved up a lot of money. I didn't have help from my parents either. I learned the value of $1 very early on when I bought my Lego Death Star back as a kid, learning how to save $400 when I was like 12 years old. But the thing is, I had a lot of backup. I had a little bit of a safety net to grant me some time and the opportunity to try. And I know a lot of people don't have that, so it's not as much of a viable option. And like, I wouldn't say risk it all on content.
Right.
No, that's not going to make you be successful.
Yeah. It's true. It's tough. It's a tough gig, and it's not everyone makes it. Even Twitch, I know more about Twitch than I know about most of the other platforms. A vast majority of people who stream on Twitch don't break 5 viewers average.
Right.
Most of them are streaming to 5 or less people. A vast majority. Like if you stream to over, I want to say 20 people on average, you're already considered in like the top 2% of Twitch streamers. And so it's a wild thing. So
yeah, I would say also, like, you asked me what I would say to other content creators who are getting started, like, be patient. Just be patient, because you don't know what it's going to be that hits, that resonates with people. But when it does, when you find that thing, like, use it, but don't abuse it. Don't overuse it.
Right.
Just find what people like and what your voice is, and then go from there. But patience is very important.
Absolutely. I agree with that. There will be people, especially who start absolutely from zero, who have nothing. You will go. You have the potential to go a long time before getting a lot of views, or if you're producing videos, or before you have a live audience. If you're a streamer, you can go a long time. And it's so unpredictable, right? Like it's incredibly hard to even predict. When I started, I consider my start as a Twitch streamer fairly common, in that I started streaming and a couple of my friends would watch, and that was cool. That was good enough for me. And I'm like, yeah, 3 viewers. I nailed it. Right. And it was that way for
That's great.
months, right? It was that way for months. And it wasn't until something random that happened finally got me in a place where at least I was having a fairly regular base of 20, 25 people watching me at the time. And that's incredible. Like, not everyone even
Yeah.
gets that. So
No. And you just mentioned you were having fun. You were
Mhm.
making it because you enjoyed it, not for the numbers or anything else. You were doing what you were passionate about. And that's what the brick building community is so cool for. Like, people here are helping one another to grow,
Yeah.
and we're all very passionate about what we're doing. And I think it's easy for us to sniff out somebody who's like not really the type of person that should be in the community, like, or who is not in it for the right reasons, and to try to maybe help redirect them or something.
Yeah.
But it seems like people are just kind and helpful for the most part.
This is true. Let's talk about the Twitch Lego community. So you spent pandemic times getting started on TikTok, as well as eventually working on other platforms like Instagram and YouTube. And then, like you mentioned earlier, you were contacted by Twitch and you came over to this platform. Tell me what that's like for you, going from this short form content to now going to like a full on live stream context.
It's different. It's very different, but it's still based on the same principles. And I think, like, if people are starting out in content, short form is a great place to start because you learn the basics. Who am I? What is my voice? And how do I hold people's attention and continue to be entertaining and exciting?
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are like some of the key principles to drawing in an audience and to being successful with your content. When I started with Twitch, I had no idea what I was doing, and I was having fun because, like I said, it's a lot more technical than a TikTok live stream, but I had experience with that as well.
Right.
I also was doing for a while a stream on YouTube called The Stud Buds with a couple of my friends, Breaking Up Brad, Ethan the Artisan, Block Studios, and we had a great time for a few years just streaming us for talking about Lego as a group of guys, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's different when you're solo streaming, and it was a bit of a learning curve, yet it didn't take very long for me to feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Twitch brick building community has been so kind and generous to me, and I think that's certainly helped me continue down the path that I'm on of wanting to grow on the platform.
Yeah. That's awesome. What is the biggest difference given the short form world compared to what Twitch is for you?
I think live streaming and long form content is just a lot more authentic, and you have to be able to roll with the punches of things not working out.
Yeah.
And just learning how to continue the conversation and keep it going.
Yeah.
Whereas short form is having a plan. I make a script for those videos. Obviously, this is all unscripted and live, and that's the fun of it. Anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
And like learning what people want to see from both platforms is important, because what people want on TikTok is a quick fix, and what people want on Twitch is a sustained sort of entertainment, whatever capacity that is for them. You also have to consider like how people are watching and who your audience is.
Mm-hmm.
People might be very visual and staring at the screen the whole time and commenting and interacting with you, or they might just be listening and lurking. And knowing how to entertain both of those people at the same time, I think, is also important. I don't know if you would agree with that, or
I agree with
what
that,
like tips of the trade you would add. But I know that TikTok is just like very quick, and you need to be able to have a bunch of clips and hold that watch retention, whereas Twitch is developing a relationship with your audience.
Yeah. I agree with that. Absolutely. I definitely think that it sets Twitch apart and streaming in general apart from the short form stuff. There's this whole in real time you're legitimately trying to connect with the people who are watching you, and it's so interactive, right? You're getting real time feedback.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to learn how to work with it, for better or for worse, right? Whatever that feedback might be from the chat in that moment, you have to definitely be a lot quicker on your feet. And like you said, when you do long form or even short form, you can show up with a plan. You can show up with a a list of bullet points or a whole script. Anything can happen in a stream. Like, the wildest things can happen, and so you have to kind of be ready for it.
Yeah, once you hit that button, a lot of it is out of your hands, and you can only control what's within your reach.
Yep.
I think learning how to react in those moments is also very important. Like, knowing that you can't control what the audience is saying or the technological errors that you might have or whatever my wheel of misfortune that I have lands on in Twitch when I spin it, if I drop a piece or if someone redeems it. But like, my reaction is something that I am in control of, and I want to be entertaining and thoughtful in my approach.
Yeah. Let's talk about your wheel. So I'm familiar with it. Let's talk about, this is something that not every stream does, and this is something that is uniquely Matt Mellish, in my opinion. Why don't you tell us about the wheel and what's possible with the wheel on your stream?
One day I was streaming and I'm like, I dropped a piece. I drop a lot of pieces on the floor just because I'm a clumsy guy when I'm building Lego, especially.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a typical Matt Mellish stream. If I don't drop a piece, it's not a Matt Mellish stream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second. I feel like we could use this for something. What if we had like a wheel that I spun every time I dropped a piece and then something crazy would happen, or something between me and my chat would take, I don't know, some event would occur. And then a couple people in the chat started like saying recommendations for what could be on the wheel. And I'm like, yeah, this could be fun. This could be something. And we sort of came up with it together. And then I fleshed it out a little bit on my own. And one thing led to another. And it's every time I drop a piece on the floor or someone redeems their channel points for the wheel, at that point, I'll spin what I call the Wheel of Misfortune, which appears on the screen. It's a digital wheel. Some people think it's a real wheel when I talk about it. How cool would it be to have like a big actual wheel? But
I think do that, man. You should.
I think it might be hard to tell. I might need a camera on the other side of the room and a special like place for it. That could be a lot of fun.
I would love that.
We may get to that point someday.
Maybe some point. So you spin this wheel, which is digital right now.
We spin the digital wheel, and there's a multitude of misfortunate options in general that can happen.
Yeah.
One is just have a cookie. That's my free space.
That's like the one
bingo, you get. Yeah, you get a free space in bingo. Like, have a cookie.
Lord.
Okay, that's easy. No problem there. But, there are exercises like 20 sit-ups, 10 push-ups that I'll do on the other side of the room that I have a camera pointed to when I need to move and do that. I have things that I will do with the set. One of the worst ones is doing a drop test, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're risking hurting the pieces and you're risking the set just obliterating, because then you have to kind of go back and start over to a point. I have unbrick bags, so whatever the current bag I'm working on, I will take it apart or unbrick it and then have to start over from that point. And I have start over, which is not the whole set, but from wherever I start on that day with the stream, I just have to tear it all apart. I might be a piece away from being completed, and if I hit that, I need to just completely start over. I also have things that will affect the build, like just using one hand and doing a one-handed build for the rest of like the 5 minutes that I set the timer for.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's always interesting. Have a warhead, have a sour candy.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Yeah. Are there any pieces on that wheel or options that you now have that you would like? If there's one that you could get rid of, what would it be?
I think it would be the drop test.
Drop test.
I've put start over a peg down in terms of the chance that I'll hit it.
Yeah.
I think it's like 1 in 3 compared to the rest. I think the drop test is the worst just because it hurts me internally to be in the middle of constructing a set and then need to stand up and make it an event of just dropping the set.
Yeah.
It hurts me.
Yeah, it hurts me. I've seen you do it a couple times. I think I've seen it once live, and then I've seen clips of it in other time. And every time I see it, though, I'm just like, I couldn't do it. I'd feel so bad if I had to do that. So kudos to you for even continuing to do so. I think it hurts me to see it often.
I try to be a man of my word. I dropped a piece. There's an honesty policy with it. Like, I'm gonna spin the wheel, and it's all happening live. And sometimes it's just allowing the chat to get the betterment of me, especially if people redeem it. It's like, oh, gosh, dang it. But you know what? They are an awesome viewer who have saved up enough points to be able to redeem it, and I need to give back to them as well and to thank them for being a viewer. And that's kind of what it's about to me as well.
That's incredible. You couldn't get me to do that, so I give you props for even making that a thing. Do you have ideas for like future things on the wheel? Are you looking to like do any kind of shake up with the options available to the wheel?
Not yet. I'm going to let this ride out for a little bit longer. But, the beauty of being live is that people recommend things and you think of things live as you're talking things out. And you're like, you know what? This would be a really good idea. Let's do this. Just like me saying like, oh, it'd be cool to have a physical wheel. Like, that'd be a great idea. Like, that's how ideas are generated. And once again, it's about the relationship with your audience, I feel like, especially with Twitch. And I've only been here for 5 months, which is a reasonable amount of time, but in the span of things, not very long at all. And I've already tried to like learn from what my viewers like and what I enjoy doing and try to incorporate them more into my content. So if people have ideas and want to see more, like, please let me know. But as of now, I think I'm just trying to like juggle what I have right now instead of adding things on. Because right now it's fun. I don't want it to become too much. I want it to be just enough for now.
Absolutely. I think that's wise. I think that you're probably okay. I think that if you were to add more, it would definitely shake it up even a lot than it already does. So good call.
And I want to enjoy the stream too. Like, I want to have fun building the set. Like,
right. I tried to like unbrick or like go back so many steps for charity streams. And
that's nice.
I think coming out of that, I was like, I don't think I ever want to do that again. So I commend you, man. I really, I couldn't do it. So
thank you. That's very kind of you. Very kind of you. It's nice to hear from a veteran who's been doing this for a while.
Oh yeah. I mean, your streams are fun. I have fun in there. I like when you're not doing drop tests, there's certainly a great chill vibe overall, which I appreciate. I'm very much like that myself.
Yeah, and that's the general kind of vibe that I hope to have on Twitch, which is very different from the short form. Like
yeah. That's why it brings pain to me when I see it in real time.
Yeah, that brings pain to me too. I promise it does. But it's really for the viewers. It's for the entertainment value.
Yeah. What gets you to tune into a stream or consume a particular type of content? What kind of things do you like to watch?
Honestly, like, after I'm live on Twitch, I'll raid someone and then leave it open on them for a while. Mm-hmm. And then maybe come back, and as I'm working on other things, as I'm, making sure that I highlight the stream or whatever it is, just be listening into other people. And as I'm filming content, I'll always be listening to something else in the background, whether that's Twitch or YouTube content. And I just I like learning. I listen to the AFOL podcast on YouTube, which Brickstar, Brick Trains, and Mardi Gras Man do. And they know stuff that I don't know. So I enjoy learning from them. I listen to a lot of YouTube and social media tip videos, but I like listening to reviews on movies and shows. I like listening to Lego reviews. Even just listening to it's fun. I listen to a lot of Jang as well. Who doesn't like to watch Jang, really? But
True.
there always has to be something playing on the background, and whether it's something that is teaching me something that I'm learning from, or something that I can connect with and just have fun with, I think that's the kind of content that I like to consume. I think in general, just authentic people really draw me in. I think charismatic individuals have a leg up on social media just because they are a magnet to people, and they know themselves and they're confident in themselves, and they know how to entertain in that sense.
Thanks for sharing that. I always wonder what other creators like to consume. It's always something that gives me a little peek into what you think about when you want to watch something.
Right.
Yeah.
After college, something that I really learned quickly was I want to keep learning, because I learned so much about marketing through YouTube. And then I learned a lot from people like Gary Vee, like I said, about TikTok. And I'm there's such potential on the internet to grow from what other people are putting out.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just let the videos run on my YouTube recommended, just seeing where it goes next. Or I'll let a Twitch stream run until it raids to someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else. And to see where it goes is always interesting.
Yeah, where it ends up.
Yeah. But it's just it's nice to keep trying to improve not only the content, but myself. I listen to a lot of podcasts about not self-help, but self-improvement. There's a lot of different channels that I could point out, but there's none specifically that I would mention.
Are there any creators out there that you would love to collaborate with or do something with, whether it be a stream or a video or something like that?
I've done a lot of collaboration in the past. Like I mentioned, doing the Stud Bud stream, which was on YouTube for a while. We brought a lot of different guests on, and that was really cool to get to meet new people. Of course, I've been to a number of Lego conventions. I went to Brick World last year, and that was really exciting. Even if I wasn't making a video with those people, just to talk to them and learn from them, and maybe be able to help them learn something, if possible, from me. That's really exciting and always interesting for me. I have some ideas for a show that I would love to do in the future. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get around to it, just because of everything that's on the shelf that needs to be able to be used for videos, and all the things that I need to get through before I can get to a point of introducing something else.
Yeah.
But there are some ideas that I have, and it's really interesting because I've only been doing this for a handful of years so far, and it feels like I've learned about a little bit about everybody in the Lego space, and I've gotten to know people and become a lot closer with them that I never would have imagined. Sometimes I'm at a Lego convention, I'm hanging out with someone, and I'm like, wow, this is a lot of fun. This is not who I expected to hang around, and I'm glad that I am.
Yeah.
It was really cool at Chicago this year to talk to some of the folks from Twitch, and to just, for even just a little bit, get to chat. Brick World is one of those places where your attention's being diverted everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to stay focused, but
Yeah.
it was nice to just, chat with some random people that I didn't expect to see, like Zach and Fred and a few others. You never know who you're going to run into, and I think trying to learn from others is always important.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's very healthy. Very. I think it's also the only way you're going to continue to evolve your own work, your own content is learning more about the space and the people in it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But like I said, I do have some ideas for the future, so
cool.
make sure you stay tuned for whatever's next
Stay
in
tuned.
2024.
Yeah. What kind of things do you have coming up? Do you have anything to look out for? Anything that you're working on for people to see in the near future?
Nothing specific. Like,
Yeah.
sounds boring, but
No, no.
I try to come out with a certain amount of videos per week on TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. And
Yeah.
I try to stream twice a week. So you can catch me here on Twitch every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time and pretty much every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And, once again, going back to the desire to create a sustainable lifestyle around this, I think for so long I had aspirations like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can add something new here. And now I've just kind of drawn back to the point of, you know what? Let's just take it day by day. Let's get through this. Let's get through that video that I want to do. And then let's see what's next. And I'm trying to gauge it as I go rather than trying to have big plans and
Yeah.
aspirations. And I think it's nice to be consistent for the audience as well, because if people know they can tune into me on Twitch twice a week, I would rather the same amount of people come regularly to those streams than me trying to stream every day and not only burning out very quickly and not having enough time for myself and other things, but probably wearing people out as well. And that's
Yeah.
something that I've learned recently too, is when I started drawing back on the amount I was posting on TikTok, it seemed like more people were watching or excited when I posted.
Right.
And so kind of learning that balance has been something that I've been working on lately.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, right? Because you referenced Gary Vee. A lot of his advice is around posts a stupid amount of times in a given day, right? And I think there's nothing wrong with, not just for your pure sanity and your time management, but also producing that desire for people to look forward to your next reel or TikTok or whatever it might be, your long form video. So falling into a cadence or a pace that's just like regular but not inundating people with all of your content all the time, right? I mean, I tried to do the could I make short form work for me, and I was posting 3 videos a day for like a month.
Man, and that's a grind.
Yeah, and I was like, dude. And obviously, if you look at the analytics on across the board, TikTok, Instagram, yeah, of course it works. Like there's a lot of views, but I was so wiped out. I was like, even when towards the end, when I got a good process and a workflow down where I could batch make some videos, I was still like, I can't maintain this, man. I can't, and now I'm stoked about posting 2 to 3 a week. And I'm like,
there you go.
That's my pace. So I think you have a point there.
I'm not so dissimilar from you in that sense. Like, I started for a couple of years posting as much as I could, but now, like you said, I am excited about trying to prioritize and be more intentional about things.
Right. Absolutely. There is a question from Kaz in the chat. Kaz is curious about how you feel about your age compared to most Lego streamers.
Is that saying I'm older or younger than most people?
I think younger, given how, I mean, right. I just outed myself to be in my 40s as one of probably many streamers here on Twitch. I think a lot of us are in our 30s to 40s range. So
Got it. Well, it's funny because like I come from TikTok where I'm one of the older individuals, right? It feels like. And then I come to Twitch and I seem to be one of the younger ones, but I always tell people like on the inside I feel like a 45-year-old man as well. Like not that you're old, but like I feel like I have an old soul. Yeah. Just in general, and I've always felt that way. I've always been friends with upperclassmen in school. I've always just kind of gravitated to people who are more mature.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I like it. I like that I can be more serious on Twitch and like people care, because I don't think I could talk about the same things that I was talking about in this stream, or sometimes that I talk about in my stream in a TikTok or a short form video.
Right.
So it's kind of nice in a weird sort of way.
You like it. It makes you, and what I'm gathering, and correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like you could be more, I mean, we've been talking about being your genuine self, but you could be more real during a stream, right?
Yeah.
You can have the fun time like one would expect, but every so often if a subject or a topic comes up that you're comfortable talking about, which is perhaps a little more serious, like you feel like you can do that here.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think an older audience also has a higher attention span.
Yeah.
So I can let things breathe without having to feel like I need to deliver a chaotic and crazy energy, which some people are really good at, like we talked about. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's just when I'm streaming, it's like my time to relax as well with other people. And I hope that's the environment that I can create with a little bit of craziness when I have to spin a wheel and drop a set.
Yeah.
It's finding a balance, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. I generally have a very relaxed stream, and then every so often we head off into like the weeds with like, just the other day I made a bunch of memes live on stream, putting mine and Zach Emrutledge's face on different different memes. I'll show you later. Anyway, absolutely. No, that's awesome. Yeah, so you're cool with the age difference, it seems. It seems like that's cool.
No, it's refreshing, honestly, because like I said, on TikTok and other short form platforms, like it's all about attention. And I feel like I need to change my approach to talk to a younger audience in general,
right?
Or really to a general audience entirely. Whereas Twitch is more focused.
Yeah.
And I know kind of the people that I'm having a conversation with who are in the chat as well.
Yeah.
It seems like you grow that relationship with your audience and you know what they want from you.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think that this allows you to be more straight with your audience, right? You can have a good conversation without feeling like you have to throw in a bunch of cuts or a bunch of right, or a lot of craziness if you don't want it in that moment. But then you can when you do feel like it. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And even YouTube, like for the little content that I've put out there, and just to be clear, the reason I don't post as much on YouTube is because of the amount of time it takes me to edit a YouTube video. It's astronomical.
Yeah.
It's already difficult for me to do a 1-minute video for TikTok and Reels, let alone a long form YouTube video. But
it's tough.
Even then, like, you're focused on watch retention, and it's a different approach even than short form content. Twitch is just way more authentic and relaxed, to me at least. That's my approach to it.
Yeah, I like it. This has been an incredible conversation. I've had a lot of fun getting to know you, Matt. This has been wonderful. I want to thank you for doing this and sitting down with me and taking time out of your day. It's been absolutely wonderful. So thank you for joining me. This has been awesome. Appreciate it.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me on, and I hope to continue being able to chat on and offline with you as well.
Absolutely. You're always welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where can people find you? Where can they find you?
Pretty much everywhere, whatever your favorite platform is. Of course, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. Every once in a while, I'll throw something up on Facebook Reels as well.
Amazing. Even Facebook.
I have a Discord server. You can join that if you want to. But,
cool.
Wherever you want to watch me and consume my content, you're welcome to.
Excellent. Go find Matt. Go find Matt Mellish on all of the places, not just here on Twitch, but of course everywhere. Honestly, you can find them. So we have one final ritual we do on this show, and that is I would love for you to close out the episode with whatever you like. It can be advice, it could be just a closing statement, it could be whatever feels like the Matt Mellish way to end a podcast if you were to do so. So one last time, Matt, this is the last thing I'll have you say.
Oh boy.
It's on you, friendo.
Well, once again, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure getting to chat and especially have a more serious conversation as well about content creation, Lego, and everything in between. But I'm just very grateful for the Twitch community as a whole, and I feel very welcomed in this space. So I want to thank not only yourself, but the rest of everyone else watching in the chat and all the other fellow streamers here online. It's just been incredible getting to know you all, and I hope to continue developing those connections going forward. And I hope that you all have an incredible rest of your day, week, month, year. And I can't wait to see you wherever our paths cross online.